Versatile Mage. Chapter 172. Finger. The magic armor is way too expensive. I suggest you look for other magic armor that is more suitable for you when you have the capability in the future. Now, let's take a look at this magic sword. Its name is the Black Cleaver. Once activated, it will form the front claw of a blackbird and launch a wind disc, shredding that is equivalent to the strength of the joint attack between two evolving monsters, explained Dean Seo. Upon listening to Dean Seo's explanation, Mo Fan thought for a moment and felt that as a man who possessed the fire and lightning elements, which were the two strongest elements in terms of offensive power, he did not lack attacking strength. Thus, he figured that this Black Cleaver would be more suitable to mages that lacked offensive power. To be honest, Mo Fan actually needed all of this magic equipment in many ways. After all, if he had all of this, his combat power would be increased to another level. Different types of magic equipment would be able to alter the way he fought, granting him more flexibility and options. However, if he had to pick one, Mo Fan thought that the Blood Tabby was a better piece of magic equipment for him. Although he had learned a positioning magic, the Shadow Elements magic that allowed Mo Fan to move freely was still not invincible. Unlike the Wind and Earth Element magic that allowed the users to move freely at any time and anywhere, the Shadow Element magic would be useless if there were no shadows in the surroundings at all. Without shadow, the Shadow Element magic was entirely unusable. Originally, Mo Fan lacked defensive capabilities the most, but this magic armor was just too useless. Hence, he felt that the magic shoes would be much better for him, as it was always better to have another trick that could save his life. Since you are not considering the remaining magic equipment, you may now brand this Blood Tabby with your own spirit power, Dean Seo told him. In just a moment, Mo Fan branded the Blood Tabby, linking it with his soul. With just a tick of his mind, the Blood Tabby would immediately appear on his legs, bestowing on him the power of the Blood Beast. Thank you, Dean Seo, Mo Fan said gratefully and confidently after receiving a high-grade magical item. There is no need for you to thank me. You earned this yourself. Now, the resources for your cultivation, replied Dean Seo. As long as I'm not given any Stardust magic tool, please change into something else for me, Mo Fan answered quickly. When it came to cultivation magic tools, there was nothing that could be compared to Mo Fan's little loach pendant that had absorbed the water in the underground holy spring. No, of course not. This resource I'm talking about here is an access granted to those outstanding or those who have contributed to the institution. We really have no idea on what kind of basis we are supposed to use to transfer all the public resources to you. Because of this, we specially requested headquarters to open the 3-step tower for you to cultivate in once, said Dean Seo. As someone that had never heard of this before, Mo Fan could only ask blankly, 3-step tower. However, his question fell onto deaf ears, as Dean Seo only smiled without answering. The reason why the Pearl Institution was able to stand at the very top among the many schools and institutions in the entire country for so many years was closely related to the 3-step tower. The 3-step tower could be described as a place each and every intermediate level mage student in the main institution would fight fiercely to enter. The new students were not qualified to fight for the right to enter the 3-step tower, and Mo Fan was one of the first. This is a hard-to-come-by opportunity. You must not take it too lightly, Dean Seo said seriously. Mo Fan nodded with a serious expression. He firmly believed that this 3-step tower Dean Seo was talking about was probably a sacred cultivation ground not any weaker than the underground holy spring. If it wasn't for the underground holy spring, Mo Fan would still need another few years before he ascended into the intermediate level. This type of sacred cultivation ground could greatly improve his power if he managed to secure a chance to cultivate in it. Thank you, Mo Fan said sincerely. I'd like to give you a little suggestion, if I may. People may only enter the 3-step tower a few times. Many of the intermediate level mages in the main institution never got the chance to enter the 3-step tower at all, so just imagine how hard it is to be able to get a chance to enter the tower. you should choose a suitable time for yourself to enter the tower. At least from my point of view, you are still not prepared to enter the tower. If you entered the tower now, you would only receive minimum benefits, advised Dean Seo. Dean Seo was right. Mo Fan had reached the intermediate level in both the fire and lightning elements. He still had to fortify and master his current strength right now. His handling of a star atlas was nowhere close to Mu Nujiao. As for his summoning and shadow elements, Mo Fan only managed to raise them into the third level in his Stardust, and there was still quite a long way to go to the higher tier Starcloud. Trying to increase his strength to a higher level would be very slow if he tried to strengthen himself through the cultivation's sacred ground now, and he would only waste a precious chance by doing so. Mo Fan clearly understood Dean Seo's words. Dean Seo wanted him to wait for a suitable time to enter the three-step tower, and only by doing so would Mo Fan be able to fully utilize the effect of the cultivation's sacred ground. Other than that, with the amplification of the Little Loach pendant, early levels could be easily achieved in a matter of time, so there was no need for him to waste such a precious chance like this. Next will be the warrior class monster's spirit blood, which will provide a tremendous boost for your spirit wolf's evolution into the warrior class. All of this, however, is just something to aid your summoned beast's evolution. Whether or not it will ascend into the next level depends on itself in the end. Remember, like you, your summoned beast only reached its current level a short time ago, and its base is still not that solid yet. Nature has its own rules, and this is especially obvious among the monsters. The monsters with a higher level bloodline are always smarter, fiercer, and stronger, yet their ability to reproduce is weaker, and so there are fewer of them. The ones with lower level bloodlines are relatively inferior, but they often reproduce swarms by swarms, and so are easily found. If the monsters with weaker bloodlines try to break the limits of their heritage, defying the rules of nature, and fail, they will turn to dust, Dean Seo reminded him seriously. With a nod, Mo Fan indicated that he understood. Be it man or monster, the path of cultivation was filled with difficulties. For example, when Mo Fan tried to advance into the next level, the resistance of his mental power almost caused his brain to explode. The same was true for the evolution of monsters. If their body and mind were not strong enough, they would all die, because what they were doing was trying to discard their own bloodline in order to achieve a superior one. Keep this card. There are $2 million on this card. This is your reward for winning the competition. Among the public resources was some cash, which I placed in this card. They are all yours, said Dean Seo as he handed over a card to Mo Fan. Mo Fan's jaw dropped. 2 million. Oh my heavens, the institution is really generous. The amount given to him right now was equivalent to hitting a jackpot in the lottery. Rich. I'm rich. Upon seeing the extreme happiness on Mo Fan's face, Dean Seo, who was worried that Mo Fan might lose himself in the sudden wealth, warned him, money is nothing when it comes to us mages. In order to pursue ever higher achievements on the path of magic, a few million is nothing at all. Once you get to the advanced level, you might need even more than that. The cultivation path of a mage is a lifelong path that requires a huge fortune. After the tragedy of Bo City, I assume you now know deeply the responsibilities of a true mage, and as humans' position in the food pyramid of this world. Don't worry, Dean Seo. I, Mo Fan, will not be satisfied with just being an intermediate level mage. Good, then I hope that if a disastrous event bigger than the tragedy in Bo City arrives, you will be able to contribute, replied Dean Seo. Then, Dean Seo, may I ask how much a wing magic equipment costs? Asked Mo Fan curiously. At least this amount, and it is not negotiable, Dean Seo answered, as he raised one finger. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.